In today's video, I'm going to teach you the easiest way to color your video to make it look more cinematic. Alright, so now we're in my favorite editor of choice, which is Final Cut Pro. You guys probably know that by now, but the concepts I'm going to teach you, you can use in any editor, Premiere, in Davinci, anything that you have. So right here, I have a little bit of footage that was taken with my Sony a7 III. But as long as you're using any camera on a regular profile, your cell phone, a GoPro, a DSLR, a point and shoot, as long as it's not shooting a log format, this is going to apply. Log is a little bit different, it takes more work. So first thing you want to do is pull up your video scopes. So every program, well, most programs have video scopes, and this is going to show you the luminance. Once you have that up, then we're going to pull up an instance of curves. And so what curves is going to do is it's going to adjust the luminance of your image. So what we're looking for is this line right here at 100 and this line here at 0. So first thing we're going to do is correct this to bring down those highlights to where they're not clipping, which means losing information. Obviously in this sense it was over. The camera was overexposed because of the bright clouds. These sensors that we have are not going to be able to capture everything. Down here at the bottom it looks pretty good. I think I'm just going to leave it where it is. So on and off, not much of a difference, just taking a little bit of that glow off of the skin. Next thing that I like to do is bring up another instance of curves, and this is where the cinematic process starts, which is going to be an S curve. We're going to do the top 25%, pull that up a little bit. A little bit goes a long way, and the bottom 25%, and we're going to pull that down a bit. I also like to see what it looks like if I put one in the middle, maybe just bring that down just a hair. And as of right now, it doesn't look much different, right? Just a little bit. So what we're going to do to make it pop a little bit more is we're going to add a color wheels. Color wheels are cool because you can adjust your shadow luminance, your midtone luminance, and your highlights. So it's a lot like the curves, but there's just less minute control and it's more broad strokes, I guess you could say. So usually what I'll start with is I'll go to the master and take up the saturation. Go too high, no bueno. A little bit goes a long way with all of this. So we bring up that saturation a bit, and then usually what I like to do is take down the saturation just a hair in the highlights and the midtones so that the skin isn't too orange. Also, we'll come down and this is going to be your temperature slider. If you go to the right, you're going to make it warm and orange. Go to the left, you're going to make it cool and blue. So I usually like to warm up my images just a hair. It just depends on what look you're going for. And then the tint is going to be left is green, right is magenta. And so for this image, I'm probably going to give it just a little bit of magenta in the skin tones. All right, so now we have a pretty good corrected image. You can see we brought some life back to the skin. Now, what I like to do is go into the actual wheels here. And this is what most Hollywood does is they're going to put a little bit of cyan or blue into the shadows. And then you have to correct that by taking a little bit of orange into the midtones and the highlights. And here I'll just play around and see if it looks good. A little orange, a little pink. And I think I like it there. And we also have a mixer at the bottom, so we can mix this all the way down or all the way up. And I'll usually just take it down to about 90% or so. And before I finish off, I want to go back to my second instance of curves and just play around with this a little bit more, maybe add a little bit more contrast. We don't want to overdo it. A little bit goes a long way with this, maybe just a hair in the midtones. And now we're going to go back out and look at the overall picture of what we accomplished. So if we take all the effects off, it's not a bad image, but it's a little flat. Bam, look at that. We just breathe a lot of life into the skin and into the colors that are produced by the camera. And still, it might be just a hair too saturated. So what if we just take this and bring that down a little bit there? Maybe in the shadows we can bump up just a little bit, so you can see right here we can play around with this. And yeah, let's go right there. I mean, you can play around with this all day for hours. So there you have it. That is the easiest way to color your video to make it more cinematic and make it pop. In the future, I'm going to be going into more intermediate and advanced ways to color your video to make it really pop, make it look Hollywood, using LUTs and all those things that you probably have seen on YouTube. So stick around for that. Comment below, tell me what you thought about this tutorial, and let me know what tutorials and different videos you'd like to see in the future. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you on the next one.